Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number one between Nerd Herders and Wood League Airlines. I am Raka, and I am joined tonight by Anaressa.
Hello, hello.
So we did go ahead and have the Grand Championship match between the winners of Division E East, Wood League Airlines, and the winners of Division E West, Nerd Herders. Anaressa, I know you did a little bit more scouting into this than I did because you're super on top of things. What can we expect coming out of this map or match?
All right, so yeah, we've got two fairly different teams coming in with fairly different strengths. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out. Nerd Herders have gone entirely undefeated this season. Yeah, have not. Not only have they not lost a match, they have not lost a map all season, including finals. Wood League Airlines, their record isn't as impeccable, but they do have a much wider roster and are comfortable on a lot more maps. And I'm very interested to see how different that is in a best of five.
Yeah, this will be definitely you don't see a lot of best of fives coming out of it, and you definitely have the ability to adapt to what your opponents do. It does definitely feel like Nerd Herders has a strategy. They kind of like ironed it out and know how to execute it. But in a best of five series, in theory, your opponents should be able to pick apart your strategy. Though that didn't work in the previous finals, so
Well, they weren't playing Wood League Airlines last time, so
that is
anything could
very
happen.
true. We definitely see a lot of change and adaptation going on in the Wood League Airlines set. So we know they have it in them, and we know if they get put on the back foot, they can come out of it. So I'm definitely looking forward to this series.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. Do you want to talk through maps?
So yeah, it does look like we did end up having Nerd Herders. Well, Wood League Airlines won the flip, did choose first pick, so Nerd Herders got map pick. They before they got there, they did ban out Braxis Holdout and Volskaya. Wood League Airlines banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen and Dragonshire. And where are we going for game number one?
We will be going to Infernal Shrines, a crowd favorite, and a particular favorite of Nerd Herders.
I do think I actually ran strats on this for a while. This is by far the most popular map in NGS. I want to say it has something like a 82% participation rate, either being picked or banned out because one team is like, no, I'm sick of that map.
We are getting ready pings. Oh, there we go. Guess we're hopping in.
Yep, going into draft in just 2 seconds. Enough talk about maps, enough talk about where we're going. We're going to the draft right here, and we're going to find out what we're going to find out. So, anything specific you expect to see on this map? I know obviously Hogger shines because he bounces forever, though neither team really likes Hogger that much.
No, but there's a decent chance we'll see some Diablo here. Really good with all the terrain. Same with Urel. And Wood League Airlines is running their Urel player. So yeah, a lot of different options. Could see some Hanzo coming out with just the incredible poke and the scatter arrow. Yeah, I think both teams' rosters are pretty well suited to make this work.
100% agree to that. I do feel like, look at that. Oh, Sonya being the first ban, that makes a lot of sense. All of Sonya's actual abilities are AoE, except for the spear, but the spear isn't so much ability as I want to use abilities more often ability. You also have the Zul'jin coming out as a ban on the other side. Not very map specific, but obviously a comfort specific going against the side of Wood League Airlines.
They are certainly scared of Zilla Zul'jin, looks like.
That's when you've got someone that really knows. Basically, when someone's good at auto attackers, then Zul'jin is terrifying because he's like the auto attack version of Butcher.
It looks like my video may have frozen 30 seconds ago, so sorry for the very shocked expression that you guys are continually getting.
Oh, fantastic. We'll go ahead and fix that real quick. I love technical difficulties. Something, and we have a instrument of technology.
You look great though, and you're still moving, so that's wonderful.
And you
But
are
all right,
back.
so Yeah. We do have Woodley Airlines banning out Robbie Black's two most popular or most comfort heroes.
Yep, we are
So
going
it'll
to go
be
ahead and have Galahad getting the first pick onto Stukov. Stukov definitely a very, very big priority coming into the meta right now. I've kind of heard that there's 3 big healers, Stukov, Anduin, and Brightwing. So we will have to see if Brightwing is the next one to come out of this.
yeah, especially with Anduin already banned. Yep, you called it.
I would say
It sure
that's an
is fight time.
interesting pick, because obviously the opponents weren't going to take it, but of course we do have no more picks on the side of Nerd Herders until the ban phase, so it does make sense. We have Arco coming out with Johanna, getting that very, very secured, and Johanna really does help with Shrine clear quite a bit.
Yeah, and can just she can just kind of stay in there for so long without really worrying about just her survivability is so good. Lunara, we get Hoppy Deer. I'm not biased.
Lunara is one of my absolute favorite, and she is so, so, so big on the meta. It's actually funny. I was talking to my teammates just a bit ago, and they were like, I don't know why Lunara is so popular played. I'm like, did you see her buffs? Hello?
I mean, her kit as a whole is just, the vision is, vision OP, being able to slow on command, which you don't get all that much CC out of auto attack heroes. So
I kind of think of Lunara as, do you want an auto attacker or a mage? And Lunara is just like, yes.
her mage build is doing really well right now too. Been seeing more and more people take Thornwood Vines. But anyways, there are other heroes besides Lunar that have been drafted. We do have Leoric getting picked up. So might see some spicy entombs.
Leoric is kind of my actual main at this point, so very, very interested to see that. Though it is a bit scary to pick Leoric into you don't know the other offlaner. Though to be fair, Leoric doesn't have a lot of counters, and one of his biggest ones is Sonya is a very skill-based matchup, although even then I feel like Leoric wins it as long as he lands his spooky hand.
Yeah. I mean, we could see Nerd Herders go with an assassin in the offlane, and kind of negate the percent damage that Leoric gives. Plenty of options still going. 2 hard-hitting DPS coming out from Nerd Herders.
That is actually a great point. The other day I ended up offlaning into Raynor, and it was one of the most miserable experiences of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have Yahtzee coming in with the Gul'dan, picking up the mage, and we still need a tank. And we're gonna have the Mal'Ganis coming out of Dark Knight. Did have the Diablo ban. You called that out. Is Diablo one of his favorite and be great on this map, but not gonna get to play the Lord of Terror today.
And this is still some bonkers CC coming out of Woodley Airlines.
No. Yeah, at the end of the day, a sleep into a silence, possibly inside an entomb.
This that could certainly hurt.
And we do have the ranged offlane in Nazeebo, just like you said. Nazeebo doesn't have the easiest time against Leoric because he's not the most mobile, but still a very, very big skill matchup. Not sure which way that'll go. I do think Leoric does bring a bit more to the shrines because he does such a good job clearing the lane minions. Or the shrine minions.
Yeah, I mean, this does. It looks like Nerd Herders is going to be able to stay further back and kind of only really send Joanna in, and they'll be able to poke out heroes of Woodley Airlines. So I'm interested to see if they're going to play it out that way, or if Woodley Airlines is just going to CC all over the place.
Well, definitely here for either one of those, and we'll go in the game right now so you can. Well, unfortunately, no longer get to see our amazing faces. Don't cry too much. Meanwhile, let me go and get a prediction up because I know you guys love to gamble.
Yeah, chat's already asking for it, so it's on its way. As you already know, 30 seconds later.
All right, and we are in the game itself. Coming in on the Cyan side of the battlefield, we have the Nerd Herders. They are represented by Arco, playing by Johanna, Meding on the Valo. We do have Mosley coming in on Nazeebo, Rusty on that Brightwing, and then Robbie Black playing Sylvanas. What about the side of Woodley?
Yeah, representing the East Coast, we have Dark Knight on Mal'Ganis, we have Galahad on Stukov, Baron on Leoric, Zilla on Lunara, and Yahtzee on Gul'dan.
All right. It looks like all 5 members of both teams. Well, I say that. Um, as soon as I say that, of course, Caster Curse. We have Leoric wandering up to the top lane. As soon as I say all 5 members of both teams are going to the middle, they do almost immediately bracket off. Just going ahead and trying to make sure that the Sharonda Owl that is not in the game will not know where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, Vala's stacking, so there's not really... I don't believe anybody on... Yeah, Gul'dan just needs regen globes, so there's not really any reason for Woodley Airlines to ARAM in mid.
Oh, it sounds like my mic is a little bit low. Let me go ahead and move it so you can hear me a little bit more clearly. Definitely relevant. Oh, man, Baron moving very, very aggressive up in the top lane. Does have to fall back. Doesn't get a lot of value done. Maybe about 10% of a tower. Meanwhile, in middle, Dark Knight is moving in. It definitely feels like Woodley Airlines' strategy right now is just to come in and say, okay, these guys are undefeated, these guys are confident, let's kind of shake them early in the game and make sure that they don't feel like they can stick around and fight this.
I mean, yeah, the CC hasn't caught them yet, but they've just got so much of it.
So we do have everyone moving through. Both teams are going ahead and picking up their Khasra and Paler camps. We do have a slight earlier clear by the Lord Herders. They're going to enjoy level 3 for all of 10 seconds. Obviously, no ability to really move in during that time.
We do have Gul'dan standing by at bot to maybe scout out the bot camp. We're ready to defend against it, assuming that they're going to get it, and we might see Woodley Airlines just pushing mid. No, they're coming down. Nerd Herders has won the race to 4.
Yep, they do go and get those second tier talents a little bit before. Although they don't actually pick them up, their opponents have actually... Everyone but Mal'Ganis on the side of Woodley gets their level 4 talents before majority of... Oh, there's a fight going on. That's probably why. Hello? Rusty taking a lot of damage, but the camp does go the side of Nerd Herders.
Yeah, we do see Lunara building into that mage build, giving up the PvE that you often see at level 4. So they're really committing to the team fight aspect of this.
Let me also go ahead and amp my mic just a bit. I'm being a little bit overly worried about this, but you know what? I'm allowed.
Woodley Airlines has already gotten their Berserker camp out. See Nerd Herders getting that out right now with the use of Sylvana Strait.
All right, we do going to have Dark Knight leading the way and moving into the actual... it looks like this is going to be a Mortar Punisher that's going to come out in just a second. Baron going in does take a little bit of damage. Johanna being run away did go in and get the Spooky Hand put onto them. It does look like right now control of the shrine is going in favor of Woodley Airlines, but while that's going on, we do have a clear going up the top with Vala and with Nazebo. And here comes the engage.
We do see Woodley Airlines way up on Shrine Monkeys, though. I already have 31.
Yep, already have those cleared out. Right now, we do go and have the Nerd Herders moving in, taking control of the shrine, but there's only 5 of the minions needed on the other side, and a lot of damage. We have First Blood going in. That great silence stops the Iron Skin from coming out from Johanna, and the Mortar Punisher is secured by Woodley Airlines.
CC, man. It'll do it.
Yeah, the Stukov was super on point, just waiting for any CC to land to put down that Hush Puddle and just be like, Johanna, your sustain and your ability to stay up is dependent on you being able to press your buttons.
Yeah, she did take the cooldown reduction and shield increase on trait at 4, so she'll have it available a little bit more often, but you're right, if she's in the middle of a silence, doesn't matter what she took it for.
Looking at things so far, I don't think we've really talked about talents over much. We do have a slightly better scaling team coming out the side of Nerd Herders. We did, of course, have Laws of Hope for the Johanna, Fire at Will on that Vala, and then Widowmakers on the Nazebo, already half done, by the way. Meanwhile, on the other side, the only scaling talent we have is Chaotic Energy coming out of the Gul'dan. Oh, nice 3-man sleep coming from the Dark Knight.
Big sleep.
Robbie Black going to get out of there, Rusty as well, but that's got to be the kind of thing that's going to have the undefeated Nerd Herders sweating just a little bit and being like, oh, they may have taken this a little bit too pre-decided, and they're having to go in and be like, oh, we have to reconsider how we're doing. This is not going to be given to us.
And we do see the camp that Woodley Airlines picked up pushing currently unanswered in mid, which is giving them a chance to pick up bot camp and get a little bit more pressure there as well.
Yep, it does look like we do have a slight experience lead coming out of the side of Nerd Herders. So even though they're kind of being run over the map, although, oh my goodness. Okay, I saw on the minimap that Dark Knight was at the camp. I'm like, are they trying to invade this? And I saw everyone move in, but no, Dark Knight just goes ahead and moves away very, very easily. But we do go and have level 9 online for both teams. Race to 10 is in favor of Nerd Herders, at least for right now, but we'll have to see if that changes. Zebo looks like he was trying to double...
Think about, ooh, is that going to be another kill?
It definitely looks like it.
Oh
my god, right?
Brightwing coming in for the clutch heal.
Rusty, you need to get be given a beer after that. Good lord, that was such a save. The Zebo was down to 2 health too.
Yeah, this is leaving Lyric to get a decent amount of siege damage at top though. So they made the save, but the pressure that Woodley Airlines is putting up is pretty significant.
Looking at the talents as they come online, we do go and have Nerd Herders going for with Blessed Shield and the Johanna, Strafe on that Vala, Wailing Arrow, Emerald Wind, and Ravenous Spirit. Wailing Arrow, I like being like Stukov. How do you like it?
No, you shut up.
Meanwhile, it does look like we have tins coming out of Woodley Airlines as well.
Yeah, we've got Entomb coming up from the Lyric, we've got Flailing Swipe from the Stukov, Leaping Strike opting for the mobility over the Thornwood Vines, Carrying Swarm from Mal'Ganis, and Horrify. Just because, more CC. Why not?
I love how strategic you make the decision for Leaping Strike. Literally, whenever I pick it, it's like I'm picking fun over.
Because, it depends how many times you're going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap in a game. So we do see Iron Skin popped.
If just going to get that out early, says I can't wait to be in danger because the way this team works, once I'm in danger, then I can't press my buttons. So let's just not get into danger. We do have the Entomb coming out. There's the Leaping Strike over on the... Oh, and there, Mading taking a lot of damage too, down to 70 health and going to be going out. Gul'dan also got out, but we do have the Spooky Ghost going through. But Baron, Spooky Hand versus Spooky Ghost, let's go. Great, great, great zombie wall. Goes ahead and stops Baron in his tracks.
You see the healer down on the side of Nerd Herders, but she is going to be able to teleport right back in. Assuming she got it off cooldown.
Yep, but it does.
And in the meantime, Woodley Airlines is taking that top fort.
Yep, it definitely does. And plus, yep, top. I promise I'm listening to you. It's like you said that, and I'm like, yep, I will think of that in a second. Oh, look. And then as my mouse is saying they took the top fort, I'm like, that's the thing she just said?
It's, I don't know if being redundant is good or bad here. We do see the Arcane Punisher picked up by Woodley Airlines.
It was very, very, very close, but man, just the way they layer in their CC and they could just destroy anyone on that team. It was still, they did get a kill off. They got Gul'dan out of the fight very, very early, but unfortunately they lost both their healer and Vala in exchange and just didn't have the damage, especially with Leoric chasing. Although Dark Knight, very, very, very up there. We do have the Entomb comes out. Dark Knight does get healed back in the backline, and once again, Brightwing going to go down.
Emerald Wind had already been used to separate Mal'Ganis from the team, but which meant it wasn't up for the counter engage on Entomb. So we see Woodley Airlines up 13s invading on this camp, looking to get down mid-fort as well for the... What do we call that, a hat trick?
I'm going to say yes. I had to think about it.
Alright. Forts are hats today.
I also really like, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but Baron made a point to walk forward to about here right as that camp was picked up, because that puts the Khazra camp within range of the Moonwell up here. So as soon as they're picked up, they just immediately turn and start throwing spears into the Moonwell.
I think as long as they have vision, or as long as your team has vision of the Moonwell, then they'll attack it.
Yep, and that's why Leoric moved forward right as it was picked up to give them vision.
Ah, gotcha.
It's one of those things that makes more sense for the viewers because they can actually see me like highlighting stuff on the map.
All right, my turn to be redundant. All right, Nerd Her just has picked up 13s at this point. We've got the Blessed Hammer coming out from Joe, so we can get a little bit of extra poke damage. I mean, not just poke damage, just damage during those shrine fights.
Yep, we do go ahead and have the casual camp pushing down below. Mosley has to go down there and help clean that up. That does mean it's a 4v4 in the middle as Leoric is pushing up against the top lane. We do also go ahead and have that camp cleaned up. Dark Knight's hanging out in the bushes, but not choosing to engage just yet. It's gonna be real awkward if they go up there and try and gank Leoric with 4 people behind them. And oh, but Dark Knight goes through, face checks that bush. This might be a turnaround. Great fear. Completely isolates Johanna from everyone else. There is the silencing arrow coming out of the Sylvanas.
Only hits one though, and immediate disengage.
I mean, at the end of the day, we did have the Carrion Swarm used by the Mal'Ganis and the Horrify used by Gul'dan in exchange for the silencing arrow, wailing arrow, if you want to be technical. So, advantage for Nerd Herders that traded 1 ult for 2.
Yeah, I do think Nerd Herders really didn't want to take that engage though. So them getting the successful disengage, I think, was a point in their favor. We do see the shrine at top ready to be activated, and Woodley Airlines looking like they're going to get there first.
Yep, this is obviously going to be Frozen Punishers. We've had the other 2 already. Although I think there's some remarkably small chance it's not in that order. Like, you can have 2 of the same before all 3 come out, but it's something like a 2% chance. It's ridiculous.
The day may come, but it is not this day.
Nope, we do have Frozen coming out. A lot of ice landing. About 15 of the way there. On the side of Woodley. We do have, looks like a flanket tip coming out. Nice silence puddle lands on a lot of people. But Arco right in the middle of everyone.
Huge blessed.
Oh, if Arco had picked up Subdue, I think they would have just finished it. But look at all this damage coming through. Silencing arrow comes through. We do go ahead and have Baron very low. A lot of healing coming out. Arco looking not too healthy, but there is the teleport in from the Brightwing. And we do go ahead and have Woodley Airlines falling back. Lunara goes down to the poison. A little poison fight off. And it looks like Nazebo is going to win this round.
Yeah, it looked like they were going to get a successful disengage with all those low health bars, but Nazebo just eked it out. Looks like they're going to go try and knock down mid fort to try and still get some value though.
Not a bad decision. They do pull back right as this comes out, not knowing if their opponents will fully rotate down. Bit of a surprising call to me. I don't feel like they're going to go and fight without Mal'Ganis, and they can see that only 1 person went down to oppose them. Or Lunara.
I mean, redirecting Nazebo's siege damage away from that though. It definitely does help.
That is fair.
Nerd Herders does knock down their first fort of the game. And that this John Cena is still pretty darn healthy.
Yep, just go ahead and go through there. It does look like we've got Nerd Herders do go ahead and just decide to get value somewhere else. They do have Sylvanas, so of course they can shut this stuff off. But Meding goes in and says, I'm going to go. I don't need Sylvanas. Oh, wait, I do need Sylvanas. And backs off for just a second.
Oh, wait, I have no health.
I forgot I'm wearing paper for armor. Here's a move in. Dark Knight very uses the ult extremely early in the fight, but they do go and secure the kill on Dovala, so you know what? No doubting from me.
Being made of paper hurts.
Just be very glad she didn't take the Gambit talent at level 1.
Ah, yeah.
All right, here's a rotation in. Although this is a 5 versus 4, this is potentially a bad engage. And we do go and have Jarabi Black. Oh, nice teleport out. Baron actually for a second gets stopped by his own Entomb.
Right, Joe does have Blessed Shield up. And they do get Leoric down. And the swipe is is not quite enough to get them off the point.
I love how
Is
Dark
Valhead
Knight
in
put them to
trouble here?
sleep, and then their sleeping bodies went ahead and captured the mercenaries. Mercenaries sitting here and being like, "Okay, sleeping guys, you're too intimidating. We'll work for you."
You're in charge of us now.
I think
Yeah,
we've all had
sometimes they get
jobs
on the
like
job
that
pretty
where our
easily.
boss was literally asleep, and I'm like, "Huh?"
All right, so we do see the playing field evened out a little bit. Still a bit of a structure advantage for Wood League Airlines, but top lane's looking pretty scary. Nerd Herders is back in the lead for XP. Got the two siege camps battling it out in mid.
Yeah, I
Looks like
do.
they're just gonna need to give that bot camp.
I do really like the way that Nerd Herders played that. The second Leoric went down, they just said, okay, go to wherever they're probably on the map and just bully them. We have a person advantage, and so they can't really fight into us. And even now, Dark Knight, I swear, just swiping over the entire battlefield. Really, really, really using his own cooldown. It feels like I'm always seeing him running around as bats, which I feel like may come back to bite them because they have no survival, no engage when the actual shrine comes up. Because that is a 90-second cooldown.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's more frequently used as, as all right, you've got me this far down, but I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still in your backline. And they do still have Leoric and Tomb, which is getting pretty close to also silencing.
That is very true. I don't. Oh, we might actually have Nerd Herders getting to 20 before the shrine comes up. I do not think there's any real chance of Wood League getting it before the shrine comes up, but I do think there's definitely a possibility of it coming up before the shrine is finished.
I do see the potential for infinite Emerald wins. Yep, 20s are hit by Nerd Herders.
Oh, and
Emerald
it's
wins cooldown has been permanently reduced to 5 seconds, so that could really change these fights. Maybe as much as those Silence and Tombs.
I love how Arco is just sitting on top of the like, yeah, it can see me. What you gonna do about it? Do it on Dark Knight just again, just swiping for days. There is the Silence Puddle coming down, getting a lot of the shrine covered, but there is the Wailing Arrow catching 3 people. Once again, the Silence comes down, trying to force them to disengage. Dark Knight getting very, very, very low, does not have the escape. There is Brightwing just getting feared into Silence, into dead. But Yahtzee taking a lot of damage. Yahtzee trying to drain, is not going to be able to drain himself to health, but Madine going to be the next one going down. Poison damage on top of the Vala. Vala's still alive?
Brightwing
Okay.
farts, man.
Finally,
Alright.
finally.
Alright,
You know,
Suhov might be in trouble though.
Yep, John Cena comes along. Said you've lost 2 people, but you've got me, so it's now basically a 4 versus 2 as they march down the lane. And they may be in a position, because there is 30 seconds until either Gul'dan or Leoric are back in this fight. And this is level 20. These guys will not stay on very long. This fort is down for, I'd say, sure. Because that's the thing, Mortal Punisher is kind of the worst one to fight with, but the best one to siege with.
Mm.
So late game, you get Mortar and you're happy about it.
Man, they definitely want to get the core damage. Shantine's down to half, but they're through the shields. Leoric is up, and Silence and Tomb is also up.
Oh,
they have baited him over
the
to get the damage
Silence
from
Duke
that.
does catch 3 people. Robbie Black's taking a lot of damage. Does go ahead and get back. We do have Dark Knight running away. Zillig's taking a huge bit. Baron's down. Double stun coming from John Cena. We do have Lunara going down. A lot of damage landing onto Yahtzee. Yahtzee having to fall back, and the core goes down.
What a game 1.
Game number 1 goes to Nerd Herders. Wood League Airlines, I would say, had the advantage for the first, like, 70% of the game. Got a little bit trickier, starting with the... I guess a second shrine was close, but I do think they still lost it. And then starting at the third shrine, just Nerd Herders started clawing their way back in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those fights could have gone either way, though. Poison damage all over the place. Brightwing being able to deal with it a little bit better than Stukov, but still having the Lunara poison able to catch the ball in the end.
100%. Here's the big thing to like point out at the end of all of that. At the end of the game, we had 7 kills to 8. It felt action packed, but at the end of the day, like both teams were very, very good at knowing their limits. Both teams were good at pulling back and not suffering unnecessary losses. And the team that
Yeah,
won is the team
definitely.
with less kills. So there's that.
Yeah, they've both teams definitely figured out how not to be horribly bloodthirsty all the time, which might be why they won their divisions.
Entirely possible. Yeah, very, very little kill chasing, just kill confirming is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the
Mm-hmm.
overall stats, this is where it's interesting to look at stats actually, because you do have Stukov out healing the Brightwing almost 1.5 to 1, but I would still say Brightwing's healing was a little clutcher at times, because you definitely had Brightwing
Mm-hmm.
saving people at the verge, and Stukov, he has bigger heals, but it's like the heals aren't always there when you need them with him.
Yeah, and I mean, dealing with Vala, Sylvanas, and Evo damage is tough for anyone, even a
Oh,
top tier healer
100%.
like Stukov.
Speaking of which, looking at the top 3 damage, they are the 3 heroes you just listed. So, though of course Lunara very, very close to the other 3. Talents real quick will show at the end of the season or at the end of the game. If you want to go ahead and copy these talents down, bring them to your games, run with them, love them. Here they are. Looking at them real quick. The ones I can talk the most about, I do like the spooky walk build that Leoric gave. I do think at the end of the game that really, really helped to mitigate a lot of the damage. Being able to walk through the enemy team and just stop half, because that's the thing, that talent says that it lowers their damage by 50%. So that is 4-second 50% reduction, and then you get the additional CDR reduction, can raise it up to 8 seconds. I think that may be part of the reason they turned around. Or maybe I just really like Leoric. That's possible.
Yeah, maybe.
Any talents that really jump out to you that you want to brag about or talk about?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the Gul'dan level 20 pick because it didn't seem like it felt like they were getting more of their kills from Mal'Ganis sleeps and or Leoric tombs into Stukov silences and fewer from the Horrifies, and I felt like the Horrifies were more used to split the team.
Yeah, I feel
But
like the Horrify was used to isolation. Now, granted, the 1-second increase might have helped, but you're right, I don't feel like they were getting a lot of damage done during Horrify, because they were using it to isolate usually Johanna and then be able to pick her off.
we do have a lobby link that went up a while ago while we were still excited about this game.
All right, well then we'll get into the lobby. I will see you guys in just a second. We're ready to go. All right, everyone, we are back for game number 2, Towers of Doom. So, obviously, this is one of the more interesting maps. It's got a very, very figured out meta, but at the same time, it plays different than every other map, and it is well known as the comeback map. Was picked on the side of Nerd Herders, so we will see first pick and first ban on the side of Wood League Airlines. Anything you expect to happen the same, differently?
Well, I do expect the players to be slightly differently because we've got a sub on the side of Wood League Airlines. We've got Woot coming in.
Oh, thank
Who's
you. I
a
would have never noticed that, and I'd have felt bad about it.
Woot is new this season and has played a lot of different roles. So we'll see how they use them. And immediate Brightwing ban.
We were actually talking about this between the matches, and we said we wonder what would be different, and Brightwing Band was one of the ones we sort of expected. Brightwing Band is 100% the first thing that comes out. This is extra good map for... I mean, this is just such a big map that globals are kind of super, super good here. But we have a bit of a healer choke going on. Now, here's the question. Will Stukov make it through the ban phase, or will he be first pick? Because I don't think there's a reality that is not one of those two things.
Yeah, and Anduin and Brightwing are two of Rusty's comfort picks as well. So we'll see if Lucio, who's their third, makes it through bans. If I'm remembering right, they played significantly fewer games on Lucio than either Anduin and Brightwing. Now Asmo gets banned out.
That makes a lot of sense, only because they do have first pick, so they're probably planning on taking Stukov if it's not banned out here, and it's not. They do go and get rid of the Vala instead.
Interesting. See, Nerd Herders taking out the Vala. You called it. Stukov first pick.
So yeah, I would like to know the thought process behind that. What is the Vala bring that you're afraid of? Mosley does get on the Leoric first and foremost. Says you're in tombs. I'm tired of them. I'm not going back to jail, man.
Apparently my video froze again. Thanks, Alden.
Oh my god. I don't know what it is about coming into
No.
this screen. They're fixed.
At least I look more thoughtful this time. Less it's kind of dead. But anyways, also how many extra legs did Mzeepo's spiders get? Enough to hurt.
Yeah,
Enough to hurt real bad.
Unfortunately, into the game screen does not tell us. I do think the quest was at the very least finished, but I don't know, because obviously it keeps going after you finish. I think it is one of those, right? You can tell I don't play enough Nazebo.
You can tell I'm distracted by the draft. Yeah, we do have the gnarly Varian Stukov combo coming out of Wood League Airlines, and the also gnarly Dirty Bathtub coming out of Nerd Herders.
Indeed. I had that is one of those things that tells you that I'm a great caster, is that I can make these amazing comments.
I mean, you make Indeed sound great, so. Right, we do see Wood League Airlines opting to ban out the Diablo instead of going for the Lucio choke.
And indeed, we have Lucio coming in from Rusty. Arco going to come in with May versus Varian. Although, really, I wonder if this is really May versus Raynor, getting those slush balls in order to just make sure that Raynor is blinded as much as possible. Though, what's really curious about that is that if that was what they were thinking, why wouldn't they just take Johanna?
What's also really interesting is this TLV pickup, which I did not see in my scouting.
No, that's Baron. TLV is not something I expected. Lurik does okay into TLV. He can spooky walk between the lanes, so it's not as easy to bully him out of double soaking, but still. You don't.
And we do see Nerd Herders opting to go double bruiser. Double bruiser into this.
I love how forward thinking you are. I see one thing and I just kind of talking about it until I'm done. You're like, okay, Raka, things are still happening.
I mean, it works out great for you in team fights, so yeah, happy to provide what I can.
But here we go into the actual game itself. I will see you guys on the other side, and super, super, super back and forth game. This is definitely a comeback map. That may be better for Nerd Herders because they were losing early on last time and they pulled it together. We'll see if they do that again.
Whatever happens, we're going to see a good game for sure.
If game 1 is any indication, absolutely. And there's your gambling, people. Well, 30 seconds ago, there's your gambling. So coming in on the Cyan side, winners of game number 1, although it was a close battle. We have the Nerd Herders coming in with Arco on the May that will not sit still. We have Rusty coming in on, that is Sonya. We have, no, Rusty's on the Orphea, Robbie Black on the Sonya, Meding is on the Orphea, and Mosley is coming in on Leoric. I swear I know what I'm talking about.
She's on the Lucio. Anyways, Dark Knight's hopping over to the Varian. Got Galahad still on Stukov. Got Baron running the Lost Vikings this game, and we have Yahtzee on Li Ming and Woot coming in for their first game this match on Raynor.
And it looks like they are going to come down here and try and get some tower cheese going through. They don't have Sylvanas, so this may not be expected. Usually you almost always look for this when you're in between Sylvanas. Oh, the minions actually got in the way of Li Ming's orb, and so not as much damage was done to the tower. And they do go ahead and pull back. They saw a lot of their enemies move down here to bottom lane.
I mean, with TLV on your team, you can just plop all 4 of your other heroes in lane, have them do whatever they want without any worry of missing soak. So I wonder if that's going to be their plan this game, just charge out of lane and make Nerd Herders give up soak in order to respond.
I mean, if possibly, but at the same time, you sort of expect the 4-man to be bottom most of the game on this map, regardless of whether the Lost Vikings are there or not. So if that's the plan, I'm not sure.
Also got the freedom to not be.
That is true. We did see them rotate up in order to make the Lost Vikings a little uncomfortable. But both teams do pick up their sapper camps real quick. Arco moving over and then moves back. I do love the skin from May. It's adorable.
Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorites for sure. We do have sapper off in bot.
Absolutely. Dark Knight moved very, very far over, and I was just watching. I'm like, you know, you're not a real boy yet, right?
I think he's getting a pretty stern reminder of that right now. The 4s are close, so they will have that kind of old kind of advantage starting soon.
It is kind of
Big
funny.
Silence really chunking the Arco, or really chunking the May rather.
Because we've definitely had a lot of. Usually, a lot of people refer to Variant before level 4 as a big minion, but honestly, I kind of feel like Raynor's a bit of a big minion as well.
Yeah, they're just a big minion family. Just doing big minion things.
A little bit of damage onto, but it does feel like the Vikings are very, very good at paying attention to what's going on. We do have Leoric up top taking a sapper camp instead of double soaking. There was a rotation in order to deal with that, but they are losing a bit of soak from this, I believe. Obviously, the fact that the experience sticks around for a while will forgive this somewhat. Baron just sitting here and watching it happen. Meanwhile, down below, we are 10 seconds away from the bottom one. Woot goes ahead and gets a little bit of shoots off. Very technical term.
Lucio looking like a very, very tasty taunt target. Woot does get caught in Maze Blizzard and gets a ton of damage coming out from the Orphea. Are they gonna... And he just... Yeah, I think it goes down to a Sonya Slam.
I was wondering because he was behind the wall, but yep, the slam comes through. We do go ahead and get the trade out 36-36. Leoric is still fighting over his shrine. There should be a rotation up to help them because unfortunately Leoric will never actually win this. Eric is too fast and too furious.
Yeah, which is giving them a chance to clear out at least some of this camp at top. But it does still manage to get in and knock down a decent chunk of that wall.
Here we go ahead and have, yep, the bottom tower did go down and all of that, and the wall got knocked down to 50%. Meanwhile, up top, however, those sappers, remember the Leoric did get those sappers, takes down the entire wall and one of the towers.
Lost Vikings were almost able to defend it, but not quite.
I mean, they defended one tower. That's one of those like partial credit things back in school, right?
It's yeah, we'll call it that. Nerd Herd is looking pretty aggro on this camp, but they do end up backing off.
All right, here we have everyone else kind of moving on in. Arca goes ahead and presses D while at full health. I mean, obviously you get on top of that as well. They may have thought there was about to be a taunt, but it was still a bit of a preemptive and surprise. Nice cleanup on this Sapper camp real quick. Dark Knight very, very far in front. Trying to pressure into their opponents. But it looks like the Sappers are fully cleaned up, so they won't get any like extra value from this.
I mean, Ming is getting classic Ming siege value though. These max range orbs.
That's always such an awkward thing whenever Ming does as Ming did, takes Triumvirate. Because when Ming shoots at his max range orb at your wall, you like want to save the wall, but if you get in the way, she just casts another one almost instantly.
We do see one of the Vikings going down, and another one of them probably completing that channel. Yeah. Really even on the race to 10. I mean, pretty even all over the place, honestly.
Yep, there is a slight advantage on the side of Nerd Herders in terms of the damage to the core. But as we all know, this is Towers of Doom, and having an advantage on the core doesn't actually make a difference. I can't tell you how many games I've cast where someone comes back from like a 20-point deficit. Oh, nice. Ice Wall comes down, catches two people. Woot unable to retreat. There is the, oh, interesting, no dirty bathtub because we have the different level 10 coming out of Orphea. And there is a kill onto Raynor.
I mean, the crushing jaws with the Ice Wall, though, is definitely hurts. As Raynor has just learned. We do have ults online for Wood League Airlines as well, though. We do have the Disintegrate Laser Beam coming out from Ming. Got Hyperion coming out from Raynor. Ooh, we got some Siege going out down at bot.
Yep, they go in. We also do have May taking out one of the Vikings, going ahead and denying a little bit of double soak value for a while, but we do go in and get the full wall being taken out bottom. So I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what name we call the ice wall into the Crushing Jaws. I'm like, Midnight Munchies?
Oh, did you see the taunt going out on Orphea? Yeah, big silence, lots of follow-up, but the high five coming in clutch from Lucio.
The high five. I feel like, to a certain extent, with how much, just like how much they were using taunts and everything in order to secure kills, giving Lucio to the side of Nerd Herders may have been a terrible mistake because he shuts a lot of that stuff down.
I mean, not if he's the taunt target, but you are right that he does have a ton of save potential here. We've got an annoying Viking coming in, being all mosquito-y, but he only gets one interrupt in before Nerd Herders cap both.
So we are down to 20 health on the core of Wood League Airlines, which means halfway to victory if you are a fan of Nerd Herders.
And 13s have just come online for Nerd Herders as well, so they've got that talent tier advantage, and they're using it to push bot. They didn't like that Wood League Airlines was ahead and had their entire wall down, and decided to turn it around.
So I'm noticing that other than Orphea, I didn't actually talk about the other ones. We are talking about the Ice Wall already. We do also have the Leap from Sonya, High Five that we talked about, and Entomb. So, well done there, I guess. Just in case all of you that are in another tab. Oh, Leroy taking a lot of damage. Does Spooky walk out, but does not have the level 13, or does, but did not take the level 13 to let him walk twice as far? And mostly just leading them on a merry little chase?
Alright, he finally goes down, but he lasted way longer, and that's given his team a chance to get some siege in mid. Maybe. Alright, they are going to back off before taking the whole thing. Next altar is going to be at bot, though, so Yeah, so nerd herders having captured the enemy fort down there does give them just such an area control advantage.
It does, assuming they still have it in 15 seconds, which is a definite big question that we have at the moment because a lot going in. We have the move in from Arco. There is a one-person ice wall and nice isolation. They do get the fort down at least, but here comes the move in. They are trying to fall back. There's Crusty Jaws getting in a lot of trouble. There's a Sony spin trying to get them. Dart not getting knocked out. Silence comes down, and the taunt comes down onto Arco. Maybe not the taunt target you necessarily want, and there is a retreat. Galahad right in the middle of everyone is trying to move back. Does go ahead and make it through.
Leoric does channel the bot altar while that happens, though, so down to 16 health.
So, yep, and for those of you that are good at math, that means the core of Woodley Airlines is at half the health of the core of Nerd Herders. Caster math.
Yeah.
We just go in.
Pretty solid defense from Woodley Airlines there after spicy engage under what wasn't quite their fort yet.
Yep,
So
a very, very
definitely could have been worse.
Definitely interesting defense came through. It looks like this may very, very quickly be the fort again because all 3 sappers do go in, and there's another 3 in the sidelines.
That fort was not long for this world. They do manage to get out of Ice Wall, though.
Yeah, Protect comes down, but Dark Knight takes a lot of damage. There is a Disintegrate Beam coming out. There's the leap coming in from Sonya trying to get in there. Protect on the variant.
Those
a lot of damage.
Huge, oh.
Protected, by the way. Robbie
They
Black.
have really split the team.
Yeah, we had Arco trying to get out of there, but unfortunately the rest of the team did not run away. But there's yet another great Protect coming through. But the fort is back up. Galahad is like suddenly getting besieged by what he thought was his own fort.
And they all get out by the skin of their teeth. We've got altars coming up in 20 seconds. Sony will be down for. All Vikings are up. Yeah, we might see Woodley Airlines be able to start that classic Towers of Doom comeback here.
Absolutely, because Sonya will not be back. And I don't believe that, yep, we do not have the teleport from the base into the middle online just yet.
But we do see a taunted Leoric at top. He takes a lot of damage, which lets Woodley Airlines finish capping that altar. We've got a Viking successfully capping the other one, so. Oh, but we do see an engage on the Stukov, and Stukov goes down right near boss.
Yep, unfortunately, because the bottom fort had gone down against Nerd Herders, even though they got 2 of the shrines compared to just one of their opponents, there were 5 shots that came out of Nerd Herders and 6 shots total that came out of Woodley Airlines. So advantage, but not as much of an advantage as it usually would be. Oh, Arco
Airlines
goes
is
very,
definitely-
very deep. Just have to fall back very quickly. And we may have a 5 cap coming out of Nerd Herders in just a second.
They're still in this for sure, but it's starting to look pretty scary for them.
Yeah, this is always an area you get very, very, very concerned if you find yourself in the middle of. Leoric was up here working on the camp, but they decided to push in, try and 6 camp. Their opponents are down here. They definitely will get this bottom fort back before the top one goes down, so no free shots. But whenever this starts, whenever you start what I like to call the, musical chairs of forts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so hard to come
Ring
back.
Around the Rosie is camps, musical chairs as forts. Is what I hear. / what I just made up.
I mean, I'd be here for it for sure. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum.
Alright, we do see Woodley Airlines going back up to 2 of their 3 home ports with this altar spawning. And they do have that poke potential from the Vikings, which Arco is immediately scouting out. Oh, we see Woodley Airlines going for boss here.
Yep, they go in and it's a single altar phase. They go ahead and just give that up, so he will take 5 shots, take the boss off the map, get the guaranteed 4. And actually Baron in here trying to like double dip, but I do think Rusty will get this hit, although maybe not. Silence does come down, go ahead and stops Rusty. They did lose one of the Vikings, but there is a great orb, goes ahead and connects into Orphea, takes Orphea right out of the fight. There is an ice wall, catches people for just a little bit.
We do see the Vikings are working on top taking back top, so not in time for them to get an extra shot from it, but in time for May getting super low, but still making the escape. It does give Woodley Airlines a chance to invade and get some pressure on that bot fort they've been eyeing since the beginning of the game. Nerdhunters is going to beat them to 20 though.
It is interesting just how much they were like playing aggressive, push into forts, and then mid game that just sort of completely turned around. It's like, no, this is our fort, we won it. Please give it back.
Do you see a taunt going out onto the May? The high five, just causing problems all over the place. Looks like one of the sappers gets in. And with that Raynor damage, this fort is going down fast.
Yep, we do have Securate coming in and securing it. There's a 3-man ice wall coming out of that May. Leap comes in.
Crushing Jaws and the Sonya Leap. Suha finally goes down. But Lucio goes down as well. Dark Knight
in a lot of trouble, does going to be taken out. There is the Crushing Jaws, does catch Raynor. Woot trying to push this back. It is a slight advantage on the side of Nerdhunters, but with Leoric not here, they can't push it too far. Both teams do have level 20.
Both teams have level 20, both teams have their healers down. So, yeah, I mean, core advantage definitely still on the side of Nerdhunters, but could still very much go either way.
So it does look like they're just going to trade out their forts and go back to the way it was at the beginning of the game. Though as I say that, top fort doesn't actually go down. And Medine
we do have Orpheus channeling at bot. She does complete the channel before Olaf can get there.
Down to 3 health, and Boss is back in 2 minutes 25 seconds.
That's enough time to get a couple team wipes.
So as we look up top, it does look like they are working on trying to get this back. Baron really, really wants this fort back. Keep in mind that top is a win condition in 55 seconds, as those sappers are available.
3 is a dangerous number for your core to be at. Next altar phase is going to be two altars, so either one of those. Yeah, unless Woodley Airlines can really turn the map around. Nerdhunters getting either one of those is going to be lethal. All heroes back up on both sides.
Appears the engage moving in. They wanted to go ahead and siege bottom, but there's a full disengage as the team shows up. I'm a bit surprised to see the Vikings still so spread out. The teams have 20 at this point, and team fights are so important at this stage of the game. Oh, Arco right in the middle of a lot of pain, and he's going to be taken right out. Nice silence puddle, but just a smidge too late, and Arco does get taken down just before the altars come up. Will not be up in time for that.
Team fights are important, says Marion. I quite agree. It looks like Woodley Airlines is going to be able to clear out that sapper camp, no problem. Maybe even get this fort too. Got a Viking position to at least stall mid-altar. Another one on standby in mid.
Yep, they want to try and get this down. Oh, nice disintegrate. Goes to and just chase down Orphea. Orphea not able to get down, and there are 2 down on the side of Nerdhunters. They also go in and get that. They should have 10 shots coming out, assuming that they can actually secure these, and I don't think there's much of a chance they won't be able to get both of them eventually. Galahad channeling bottom right now. Leoric does get taken out by Li Ming. Good grief.
That's going to be a lot of shots on the side of Woodley Airlines. Taking the core from 19 to 9.
Though again, the core of Nerdhunters is triple the health of the core of Woodley Airlines.
We got a taunt going out on May, but it's not going to result in a kill, but it might result in this fort going down. So Sonya and Lucio trying to take back bot, but
here's what's critical about this. As of right now, if an altar is picked up on the side of Nerdhunters, it will not end the game, because they'll only get 2 shots out of it.
Except they're picking up the boss right now. Oh, if Nerd Hurts do, yeah. This is looking like a map of comebacks.
Yep, this is the map for comebacks for sure. And they are going to go ahead and move up here. Instead of doing the race, they say, we're going to go ahead and take these sappers real quick. Go ahead and unlock more win conditions on the map. The next altar phase is a single altar. This could be where everything comes down to, because with that 4 being taken back, both teams are in a position to win off of this shot.
Altar coming up in 25 seconds. We see Nerd Herders really fighting to get those sappers down. Maybe take back that top fort so this won't be lethal. No, they're leaving the fort up, so yeah, this is. Oh, unless Woodley Airlines can take down bot fort.
They're certainly trying to, but they do pull back. The fort is just barely alive. There's the ice wall. Ice wall does whiff, does not catch anyone. Galahad does get caught in the ice. There's the leap in from Sonya. Galahad in a lot of danger. There's the crushing jaws, does catch Baron. Baron goes down. Oh, but Baron still has 2 Viking stuff left alive. And do they have play again? I'm sure they do in just a second. But right now we have a great silencing in 2. 3 people caught in it. Dark Knight is going to be taken down first. We have Woot coming down second. Galahad in the middle of a lot of damage. And that should possibly be the end of the game. Unless somehow, are these sappers going to manage to? No, I do not think the sappers will get the fort. It's being channeled right now. We have the Vikings trying to come in here, trying to keep this from happening.
See Ming doing her absolute best to delay this. Stukov goes down as well.
Oh, this was almost such a comeback for what the map is known for. But at the end of the day, it does look like we're going to have 3 shots coming out of the side of Nerd Herders going in there and ending game number 2.
Yeah, according to chat, Nerd Herders really knew they needed to fight for that one. It might be. Yeah, well, the airline's really giving them a run for their money. I think they probably haven't seen all season.
100% agree. Looking at the stats at the end of the match, good lord. Again, somewhat low kill game. At the end, you did end up with 15 kills to 8. But at the same time, to remember, I feel like 5 of those kills came in the last 2 minutes.
Those are some pretty impactful kills. Yeah, we do see some incredible healing coming out from the Lucio. Almost, not quite almost double, but in the ballpark for that.
It's double if you blink fast. So we do end up with, as you said,
I saw 5. It's close.
Lucio. Honestly, this is why they'll never do it. But if you had player bans instead of hero bans, I would just ban Rusty, because Rusty made such a difference on the Brightwing and it made such a difference on the Lucio. The high 5s came in and stopped Taunt from securing kills over and over and over again. So frustrating for Dark Knight, I'm sure. I've played Varian into a good Lucio and I just want to strangle. Just let me have fun, Lucio. Let me play my character. Looking in terms of damage, we do have Yahtzee leading the way, followed up by Woot and Orphea.
Yeah, and a huge amount of XP coming out from Lost Vikings, to nobody's surprise.
No, that is, one might say that's what they're built for.
Well, and also being all over the place and being annoying, installing altars and stalling rotations and stuff.
I would argue, although granted we may have to ask Derivative, but the Towers of Doom is Vikings' best map. So if you have a Vikings player, this is where they thrive. Made me really sad. I learned Malthiel for this map, and then it's like, well, there's another one that's just even better. I'm like, aww. But looking at talents,
though.
we did, as mentioned, Leoric did not go Spooky Walk this time, did go for the auto attack build. Very sustaining, did really help them power through and actually get Varian down with the % damage that comes out. Any talents that jump out at you as very... I was kind of hoping we'd have the Rainer Death talent, but we didn't. Sad day.
Yeah, we did see the quest at 4, which Yeah, which seems interesting. Yeah, interesting into Orphea. But I know I've been defaulting to the armor talent of ever since Stove told me to. So um, so yeah, so I'm always surprised when somebody does something other than that. And we have our third lobby up.
All right, so we will be right back once we get everything set up. See you in just a second. There we go. All right, we are here for game number 2 between Nerd Hudders and trying to make sure that your camper doesn't mess up for once. So we do have, once again, first pick going to the side of Woodley Airlines. They say, you know what, having effectively a third ban is worth it. We don't have a weak map. So we are going to Cursed Hollow at the bequest of Nerd Herders. I think I may have said that backwards.
I think you got it right.
Okay, good.
But yeah, being able to have a third ban against a team where most of the players really only have 2, maybe 3 comfort picks, really does do a lot.
They are taking a bit of time talking about this first ban, or we've all played the game, talking about things unrelated to the first ban. But they do go with that Azmodan. They say, being able to interrupt our channel of the objective from a quarter of the way across the map is no fun.
Just play Deathwing and interrupt it from the sky.
We have not seen any Deathwing, and I'm not sad about that. I hate that dragon.
Alright, we do see the Zul'jin ban coming back. Really picking on the Zilla.
So yep, the infinitely stacking. It's interesting that when it wasn't banned, it wasn't taken, but getting a little bit away from the healer choke that we saw last time.
Yeah, one of the DPS did swap out for Woot last game. I'm trying to remember if it was Yahtzee or Zilla.
Oh, that's a really good point. Based purely on their position in the lobby, which means nothing. It was Zilla.
We do see the Brightwing ban coming out, which on a map this big, yeah, I think that's a really good call on the side of the Airlines.
I've been a bit surprised at the lack of fall stat, just because globals are so good, especially some of the maps we've been seeing.
I stand ready.
Lavala makes it through bans this time and gets immediately picked up.
Which means Stukov is not the first pick coming out of Woodley Airlines.
Stukov and Anduin both still up, which I believe are covered picks with both teams.
For the alliance above all.
All right, Anduin going with the Valerian mint skin. Love to see it.
Stukov is still available for Woodley Airlines.
And I suggest they take it because I feel very confident Stukov will be banned if it's still bannable. Oh. Well, here we find out if I'm right. They do go with Baron on the Yrel. Not going to be 3 people, just going to be a very, very hard to kill goat.
Yeah, and her ability to jump over terrain for interrupts has a. I've definitely gotten the short end of the stick on that trait before.
Yep, and
there we go. We do have the Stukov ban.
I have it on good authority, actually, that Australian players are extra scared of Yrel simply because they've had a war with Emu and they lost, and Yrel's even scarier than an Emu. The more you know.
Australia facts.
Oh, interesting. Leoric being banned out. They say, okay, we aren't getting the Entombs of Death and Destruction, so you don't either.
See Tastar coming out. All right.
Now that's very interesting.
That's gonna help.
Being
able to send out a lava wave.
Yeah, very, very, very good on both defending a curse and helping a curse. Though it's not, I don't see a lot of Red Rose on this map, so I'm curious how well it actually works. Like in theory, it works amazingly.
And if you take lava wave and just send it down the opposite lane, you get a full lane of XP for the cost of 1 ult. Stitch's Uther. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that's super interesting, but that does mean Uther is their only healer, and Uther isn't super, like, good as a solo healer. He's not bad, but he's not Anduin good.
We do see a Deathwing coming out.
Okay,
apparently, Sky interrupts.
Yep,
yeah,
Sky
brilliant idea from the caster.
But here's the thing that really, really concerns me about this for Robbie, is that Lunara is in the game, and poison is one of the best things you can have against a Deathwing, because you can't heal him. So it's like, the big problem with poison is it does damage over time, but since you can't heal Deathwing, it just does full damage eventually. But we'll go in the game one more time, or hopefully more than one. I'm really hoping we go past the game 3, but we will see you on the other's end. And yes, I'll get your gambling up.
And with this coming out from Woodley Airlines, I'm thinking we're going to see at least game 4.
All right, coming into the game real quick, we do go ahead and have predictions up as of 30 seconds ago. Coming in on the Cyan side of the battlefield, we do have the Nerd Herders, the Nobility of No Mercy. We do have mostly on the Ragnaros, Arco running around on that Diablo, Robbie Black on the Lord of the Skies, Deathwing, Rusty on the Lad Anduin, and Medine coming in on Tassadar.
And on the red side, we've got Dark Knight hopping over to Stitches, Galahad on Uther, Baron going to Urel this game, Yahtzee on Vala, and Zilla on Hoppy Deer, Best Deer, Lunara.
All right, looking at our level 1 talents that have come out, we do go ahead and have the Hungry for More coming out of Stitches, getting extra move speed, able to get into position and chase down a little bit better. We do also have the Silver Touch on the... Oh, and the Stacking Quest on Vala. We do go ahead and have the extra damage on Hatred, but don't die. Was that enough don'ts? I hope so.
I mean, yeah, there's not that much kill pressure on the side of Nerd Herders, though. Seems like they're probably going to look to win the game just through macro and attrition.
So yeah, that's Robbie I'm kind of scared for. Just because, again, Vala and Zilla both do damage so quickly, assuming they go the builds for it, but seeing that auto-attack build coming out of Vala means she'll just be able to shred into Deathwing.
And both of them are so mobile and can just dodge all of his ridiculously broadcasted abilities. And the Lunara vision is such a good counter to the hide in a bush and surprise them that way.
All right, Mosley getting a little bit picked on up in the top lane. Is going in. Just go ahead and get a little W around him. I think that's W. I play a lot of Ragnaros. Up. It's E. Darn it. Meanwhile, down below, we have Robbie against Lunara. Right now, Deathwing is winning the health war.
Vala gets that siege camp out a little bit before Tastar, but not by much. But Urel really is bullying up the top.
Yeah, mostly having to, like, effectively actually goes ahead and hearths. And then doesn't.
Do you see rotation down to bot? Maybe looking to get Lunara here. Does she have Wisp out? She does have Wisp out, but Diablo still gets to her. That does... Oh
my god!
She gets out! She gets out! Hoppy Deer, Best Deer!
Bambi is saved? My childhood is restored?
That was beautiful. I'm not biased.
That was unfair? Like, I love Lunar as much as anyone else, but that's one of those things where you're just like, okay, you should not have gotten away with that. Speaking of not getting away, we do have a little bit of a collapse onto Robbie down here. Does see it coming and does move back. A little bit of damage, but then there is the fallback as the tower starts shooting.
Yeah, the perma unstoppable is definitely a frustration for a Stitches comp.
Here we have a lot of fire coming out of the side of Robbie Black. Clearing this away. The tribute is up. Everyone is here except for Urel. This does give an advantage for Nerd Herders because it is 5 versus 4. And Urel is actually double soaking rather than coming down. So they're just content to give this up in order to get an experience advantage.
Stitch took just barely missing the Tassadar.
We do have the double soaking echoed by Ragnaros as he move up to the middle lane, but Lunara is hot on his, I'd say heels, but Ragnaros hot on his puddle?
Magma. Yeah, Urel does get some good siege damage on top. Doesn't fully get that tower, but yeah, one archer shot away from getting a tower.
Lunara would have finished the tower. I'm also not
still
biased,
not taking
by
the PB at 4, though. No, still opting for that mage build. Alright, this tribute is spawning on the side of Nerd Herders, so it looks like that's... Ooh, hook goes onto the Anduin! huge amount of damage, and he goes down.
Yep, does get finished off by Lunara. A little poison puddle just behind the wall. You can stop people, but you can't stop poison. A lot of damage. Tessar does go ahead, and another hook comes into Arco. Arco taking a lot of damage. They are walking into the fire and the flames. We do have Lunara gets another kill. Robbie Black does go ahead and use the ult to get away. Flies over the wall, burns down half the forest, but survives.
Incredible fight coming out from Woodley Airlines.
Goes in and
It's like
avoids
balls
that
looking
fire. Puts some damage into Robbie. Looking at Lunara is going to go ahead and take Blossom Swell and Choking Pollen, so is going the full mage build.
Mm-hmm. Val and Uther getting out the siege camp. Val still hasn't. Yeah, no deaths at all on the side of Woodley Airlines, so Val still got. Yeah, still got all her Gambit stacks.
Gambit successful, at least so far. Oh, mostly just barely not getting picked up by that hook.
Yeah, the whole keep them on their toes tactic does seem to be working. Or does seem to be happening. It's still a pretty even game.
Oh, 100%. It looks like they are going to go ahead and pick this up. Nope, never mind. Deathwing from the sky. How could I forget?
Such an obnoxious hero.
Okay, he gets the charges back. You need to keep channeling.
Oh, APOC comes out. It goes
We did
straight
go-
onto Uther.
The APOC actually was super stitches. Rusty did go in, but there is a light well. Dilla take a lot of damage. Does just about go down. Goes about to 100. There's a pullout for, but Rusty once again gets hooked. There is the Leapy Deer goes over. Leapy Deer very low. Robbie Black nearby. Very careful deer coming out of action. I promise I'll look at other people than the deer. We do it in the backline. A lot of death happening everywhere. Vala does get taken onto Diablo. First stack on the Gambit is down. Baron trying to go around does go and get stunned. There is the boss being pulled in by the ult coming from the Deathwing. Baron and Dark Knight being pushed out of here.
Yeah, Dark Knight using that the friendly hook to get you out of danger.
And we are
As
at
you see a
two
lot of wave
tributes.
going down the bot lane.
We are 2 tributes to 3 in favor of Nerd Herders.
One might say 2 tributes to 1.
Okay,
in some cases.
that does not count as caster math, so I'm allowed to get it wrong.
Alright.
That's reading comprehension, totally different.
Yeah, we do see a boss call coming out from the side of Nerd Herders.
We're going to have Meding, Arco, and Robbie Black leading the way. And in response, this is scouted out, or at least intuited. And we do have Baron, well, basically everyone except for Lunara up here dealing with the top boss.
And
Riders
Vala
needs to
has
be
so much
careful.
better. Yeah, Vala's boss clear is so much better than Nerd Herders, though.
Lunara goes down here. That's an interesting call because Lunara did not take the talent that makes her good at this. Like, she's not bad. She does a lot of damage, don't get me wrong.
Alright, Vala's coming down to help out, though. So that should be able to stop most of the bleeding. And we do see all 5 from the side of Nerd Herders going to defend this boss, which is still pretty healthy.
Oh, Baron did that just about perfect. Ends up getting the tribute. Tassar went to try and stop it with the Q, but Baron was like a pixel out of range. And I don't think they realized that. They thought they could interrupt.
And that's Ragnar's trait burned as well. This is... Yeah, I mean, we see Nerd Herders up 13 talents, but otherwise we're at 2 tributes to 2. Yeah, very much still anyone's game. Still anyone's series. Alright, Realm might be in a little bit of trouble here. Nope, because you can hop over terrain.
Yep. Yrel just being like,
How
you
do
know what?
That's good.
Actually, did Yrel come out before or after Hanzo? Because I was going to say she taught Hanzo that trick, but I actually don't remember the release order.
They were both before my time. I don't know.
A lot of damage coming into the middle. Deathwing's going to go ahead and burn down a building because that's what Deathwing do. Ragnarok's going to
We
pick
do
up the
see Vala
giants
again.
up top. Though Rag is super low on mana, is going to go ahead and mana up, I assume. Yep.
Vala does have the healing on her basic attacks now, so she'll have a little bit more sustain in these fights. I mean, she's still, again, made paper, as she was before.
Oh, just barely misses with that hook. There is a great Apocalypse, catches a lot of people. Vala does go ahead and stun out a ton. A lot of damage onto Dark Knight. Dark Knight is not long for this world. We do have the light bomb coming out onto Arco. Arco takes a lot of damage. Yahtzee is face mashing into that electric fence, but we do have the full soul Diablo going down. We'll be back in a tenth of a second. Lunara goes down. Vala goes down. Second death for Vala, down to 50% increased attack speed, and it looks like we will have the first curse coming down on the side. Well, I don't know. We do go ahead and have Baron coming in. A lot of damage coming in. There is a wall. THC people, Dark Knight taking a lot of damage. Dark Knight goes down. Baron, the only one left, and is trying to stay alive.
Strain hops, man. Yeah.
My curse upon you.
Go ahead and have everyone just moving in. It does look like we're going to get a full clear. Most of the side of Nerd Herders goes into the middle of the map in order to take out this middle objective. Meanwhile, Deathwing does clear the bottom one.
Healthy level lead on the side of Nerd Herders, too.
Poor Deathwing must feel so bad during a curse, because it's like, okay, he can like wind up and use an attack to clear out a whole wave, but he does that anyway. We do have everyone back on the side of Woodleague Airlines. They're pushing through. They're getting a lot of damage done. Zilla down very, very low. There is a flip. Yahtzee taking a huge bit of damage. We are going to go and have...
But Rain of Vengeance for the self-peel comes out and she is still alive, and Tastar is gorged.
Tessar just go ahead and pseudo-stealths back. So that everyone will survive. Nope, never mind. Shut my mouth. That is the third death on
Perfectly
Vala.
landed Q there.
She is down to 10% extra attack speed. And only actually at 66 stacks of Creed of the Hunter.
Oz, thank you for using the Wisp's proper name. Cheddar is, in fact, the name of Lunar's Wisp. No one can tell me otherwise. Alright, so that's all forts down on the side of Woodleague Airlines. We're back to even talent tiers, but definitely the macro advantage going over to Nerd Herders.
I just have to tell you, being as much of a lore person as I am, I immediately tried to figure out where Cheddar was from. My mind was like reeling for all of the things I knew about Lunara and Wisps in general, and...
Cheddar's the very, very good boy, the corgi from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, thank you very much.
But about the HOTS game that we're playing right now, we do see the boss picked up by Nerd Herders.
Look, there are important things, there are lore questions that need to be answered. We do go ahead and have, we actually have Nerd Herders moving up, looking to make a double boss play as their opponents have to go down and defend bottom boss. They'll go ahead and put pressure from the top. Similar to what happens by Deathwing whenever a tribute's trying to be picked up, but not quite the same.
They don't have as much boss damage. Ooh, the hook does go out on Diablo, but no follow-up with the stitches. But if he's gorged and taking tower shots at fort shots, that might be a problem.
Alright, Anduin does go ahead
Anduin says no. Stitches says yes.
Anduin says no.
I was watching Hot Stop Ping Pong.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Mosby should have gotten pulled in by that. And there's unfortunately another death on Vala, down to 5% extra. I hate to call that out, but it's a Gambit talent, so you're kind of required to.
such a strong start. APOC comes out, doesn't connect on anyone, but the fear and the stun onto Yrel pops the absorb. Is going to survive this, but isn't going to take much damage.
Yep, isn't going to heal very much.
Isn't going to get much health back and take damage.
And we do go ahead and have the Grave Golem is being knocked down. Baron very, very, very low, does get pulled away down to 100 health, and is not going to survive this one. Oh, is this it? With 2 people down, it looks like they are making a play for end, a play for the series. We do go ahead and have Castle the eaten by Stitches, is undershot, and it's going to be taken out. But the core is down to 25%. We have a kill onto Diablo as well. Robbie Block is going ahead and breathing fire. We are down 2%, and there, with game number 3 and the series, is Nerd Herders taking it down.
Man, GG's for sure.
Very, very much so. So, wow. I'm going to go try and get a interview set up. I will see you guys in just a second. If you want to talk about any of the talents or any of the stats while I do that, feel free.
Yeah, so Diablo getting a ton of value out of APOC, landing a bunch of those combos, and looked like pretty much every time being able to turn it into a kill. Yeah, the Anduin Light Bomb really working for for some counter engages there. Now Stitch pulling in a target, and then as soon as they pop out, they've got a Light Bomb, and then you don't want them to be there anymore. And the second charge of the Leap of Faith definitely making some saves in there.
Yeah, for a split second, I forgot they'd move that down to 16. When that happened, I was like, wait, they're not 20 yet, huh? But it looks like we are... I don't have confirmation of an interview yet, but I'm going to go jump into lobby room 2. So if you'll follow me.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
and
how's it
being
going?
Joined by Arco. First of all, congratulations. Oh my goodness, what a series. Couldn't have given us more games, though. Come on.
There's a couple close ones. Game 1 and 2 in particular. Like, we were... Game 1, we were on the back foot for the first half. Game 2, we were trying our best to throw. And, yeah, Game 3, I mean, it was a challenge as well. It was a heck of a set.
It certainly was. So obviously, kind of gimme question going into it. How are you guys feeling right now?
Pretty darn good. We finished the entire season without dropping a map, and how could anyone hope for more than that? Like, what are you looking for? So yeah, we're pretty elated.
I mean, they definitely made you fight for it.
Yeah, absolutely. They were the Div E East champion, so we knew it wouldn't be a cakewalk by any means. Like, we were coming ready for a fight, and we can see why that they did so well. Like I said, they had us on the back foot plenty of times there.
Well, 100%. It was an incredibly, incredibly close series. Going back to game number 1, that was the game on Infernal Shrines, and there was definitely a lot of back and forth. Specifically, what I remember is the second shrine, because the first shrine, they kind of just, like, they got most shrine before you were able even to get there, because they put so much pressure on the top lane. But shrine number 2 was super back and forth, and if I remember correctly, there's a lot of things going on. I may have forgotten it. You'll have to forgive me. But...
No worries.
Second shrine was super close. I think both of you were at 30. And then they ended up getting a triple kill. And I think you only got their Gul'dan in exchange. Or was that the other way around?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, my brain's halfway fried after the whole set. That sounds right to me.
So what did you guys do? Because it definitely felt like the first half of the game, or at least the first, like, 40% of it, they were consistently moving slightly ahead, consistently in a slightly better position. What did you guys do to turn that around?
So, on my end, it was just kind of, well, in Div E West, our final series, we were playing on Tomb, and there was just this moment where we just kind of were like, well, we just need to go get them. Like, we got to engage on our terms kind of thing. And I kind of had an aha moment where it's just like, well, I just need to stop missing Blessed Shield and come and through the side and just try and land something here. Just fight on our terms rather than on the back foot looking for a window. Just got to make one.
All right, makes a
Oh.
lot of sense. Any specific questions about game one and Aressa? Because you are still here, even though I'm talking forever.
I mean, my only question is, what is it with you guys and not wanting to play one bruiser? Did 3 assassins game 1 and then double bruiser games 2 and 3.
Well, you know what?
Somehow managed to make it work all 3 games.
The comps are what the comps are. We just kind of make it up from the seat of our pants. We typically lean into like double bruiser a lot. Game 1, it just kind of didn't shake out that way. Like in draft, we're talking about, oh, who do we play? Mosley, our offlaner, he was asking us, oh, who do you want? Ragnaros or Dezebo? And I said Ragnaros. And then he just kept debating it, and it's just like, okay, well, you know your craft better than I do. You pick which one you want, but I vote Ragnaros. And he's just like, nah, Dezebo. And it all worked out. So he still has a job come tomorrow.
Hot to hear.
Well, that's actually a super good segue. I was going to ask this, but now that the season is over, but you still have a job tomorrow, what are your plans coming forward or moving forward?
That's a good question. Well, I imagine we're gonna just keep going in NGS. Wherever they put us is where we wind up. I mean, I imagine we'll be moving up to Div D. And yeah, we'll just see what happens.
Well, definitely look forward to casting you in Div D if that's where you end up. I agree, although with a undefeated season, there's an outside chance they might just be like, okay.
Yeah, it's just all right. See, it is for you guys. You guys need a lesson in humility. You need to get your little butt spanked for a season, and I accept this.
Nexus Div seems right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, you'll be fine.
And the other shoe drops.
So coming back to the maps for a second, you guys did end up with a map pick every single time. Now I was not surprised that you went with Infernal Shrines. Infernal Shrines is definitely a massive comfort for you guys. Was there a reason you specifically went after the Raven Lord maps?
Nope. We really like Towers of Doom, even though we didn't play it very much in the season. Like, it was either, like, banned against us, or we just had some outside meta reasons not to go to Towers of Doom, even though I think it's one of our better maps. Not that you would know it by the way we were trying to throw. But yeah, and then Curse Hollow was just, I was looking at what maps were available, and just kind of shrugged and said, I guess I have to pick a map, so I guess it's this one. Yeah, that's it. It's no big brain strat on my end here, anyways.
The other question I have about this, specifically the second game, that moment at the end of the game where they started to swing it back, that your core was at 5 health, they had 5 towers, and were about to take a 6th. What were comms like? How did you stay together? Because that was such a high pressure situation, because there was a single altar coming up.
Yeah, it was, well, when we were clearing the camp top, there was discussion. It's just like, okay, next altar wins no matter what, like, for either team. In the current state of the game, of course, if we lost that bottom tower there, it all would have been over. Well, I shouldn't say it all would have been over, but capping would not have been a win for us. So we just looked to get our picks, whatever kill we could get. Once we leveraged an advantage, I just said, you guys are on your own. I got to deal with this bottom camp because, like, it was hanging on by a sliver, our fort, and if we lost it, we didn't win. And watching the E East finals, Souls in slow-mo, that not having the tower counts when they could close out the game definitely cost them, and I was not looking to make the same mistake.
All right. Great answer. And Ressa, any specific questions about game 2?
Man, you already took mine, so
This is why I always ask first, because I seem so smart, because I can take the most obvious thing that happened.
You don't have anything to ask. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
something redundant casting.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving up to game number 3. Game number 3 was another one that, yeah, like at the end, you guys definitely started to scale an advantage, but there was definitely a point where it was 2 curses to 2 curses, back and forth, back and forth. What was your specific strategy going to that map? The Deathwing pick kind of scared me, but you played it masterfully.
Yeah, so our specific strategy was just get campzone going and just win fights. With the Deathwing and the Diablo, we fight very well in the plenty of tight choke points that they have. So that was what we were trying to go for the best we can. We were really happy we got to deny the Stukov in the third ban phase because we were pretty worried about the silences coming down in these chokes. But of course, Uther Stitches was very scary as well because, like, even if we're good at fighting in chokes, there's a possibility that it won't be in the chokes that we want to fight in if we're just drug away and stunned to death.
All right,
That was
fantastic.
definitely a scary fight to, or a scary team to fight into, rather.
Oh, 100%.
But you guys were able to keep the edge for a decent chunk of the game.
Yeah, I was cowering around Deathwing a little bit, just like can't hook me if I'm behind him. But no, they played it well. Dark Knight got a good number of good hooks on us, and there's the old tug of war between Diablo and Anduin, or sorry, Stitches and Anduin, right near the end of the game there in top lane, and it
It's
was
a beautiful moment.
yeah, absolutely.
I do,
I mean,
not to take anything away from you
please don't
guys.
fight over me.
I felt so bad for Dark Knight, because there was a point where they got a hook into Mosley and it just like collided with terrain that it really shouldn't have.
Yeah. I mean, it was all fuzzy, but he was pretty surprised by the hook. Like, there was an audible whoa, and then like a moment of instant relief. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, it's fine. Like, he was pretty surprised. It definitely could have stopped us from ending. Like, if they got that pick, that could have been it.
So, any questions about game number 3, Anaressa? I realize I keep taking them all.
Again, think you're mostly covering it. So here's the boring answer to your question.
You can ask it again, and I'll try and give a different answer, like just to keep it interesting. You know, whatever helps you.
So I do have
all
one.
these 3 games are blurring at this point. So
I have one very, very big question that I do have to ask. So, where does the name Nerd Herders come from, especially since the title members of mostly in the Arcanauts are still on the team?
Yeah, so we were mostly in the Arcanauts last season, and it turns out it was a little wordy for casters. Like, we're just like, oh yeah, like, sure, it's Log, but they'll just call us the Arcanauts. Like, it makes sense to me, but everyone kept calling us the Mosleys, and we are like, no, there's already a pluralized word in the name. Why are you taking another word and pluralize? Anyways, we're like, okay, that's it. We're shortening this. We're just making it nice and simple. Nerd Herders was the name of one of the comps we liked to run last season. And so we're just rolling with it. And yeah, that just became the new name. Put a seal of approval on it. And here we are today.
Here you are today at the top of Divi.
Absolutely. Super, super happy. I subbed with your team one time, so I was like, this is partially my victory in a way that absolutely does not count.
Yeah, no. I mean, it really, it's America's victory. It's everyone wins.
It's like PBS with the whole, this is made possible by viewers like you. And you're like, yes, I did help do this.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I mean, no cap, like, you know, we couldn't have done it without all the support and the stuff provided by the community and family, friends, and all that. So, you know, it's everyone helped.
Well, actually, that pushes into the next obvious question. Any shout outs you want to give while you have the stage?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the NGS staff for all the sweat and hard work that they put into running this competition season after season. You guys, thank you for picking up Cassie Our Game. It was posted 2 days ago, so super short notice. Right on for picking it up. I'd like to thank my team. They put up with all my BS and my hissy fits, and it all worked out. I'd like to thank our coach, Himo Santiago. Like he really just keeps it together, just makes us better players all the time. And I'd like to thank all the family and friends who just cheer us on and support us for some dumb unknown reason, but they do it, so we love them for it.
All right. Well, very much congratulations. Very, very impressive feat. Going through the entire season, not dropping a map, although you had extremely close calls at times.
Yeah, it was a thin line, that's for sure. That's for sure.
But
Definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys do in future seasons.
yeah, I won't take up any more of your time. Enjoy your celebration.
Thank you very much.
And congrats on the victory.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
You too.
You too, bud.
And that is also it for us. Before we go, Enaressa, you want to tell everyone who you are, where they can find you, and all that good stuff?
I'm Anorasme. You can find me very, very occasionally on Twitter, but mostly just hanging around Discords, writing words instead of casting or tweeting or anything. Yeah, DPS player, also from Divi, but clearly not on either of these two teams. And that's about it. At Enressa_HOTS on Twitter.
And then I'm Raka. You'll find me casting a lot. Someone asked in chat if I still played HOTS. I do. I was on Yavapai this season. Don't look at our record. And yep, you'll find me in HOTS. You'll find me casting over at the channel Irakov. There's a caster command. Just click the link and it's awesome. And I will see you over there. As for everything else, we'll go ahead and raid over to Jinxie Cat in just a second. She has another game. Although it looks like they are also in interviews, but still, enjoy that content. Support NGS, and yay.
And thanks, chat, for deciding to spend your evening with us. Watching the best that Divi has to offer.
Absolutely. Very, very good it was to see.
Oh, man.
All right, bye.